Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. Good evening. Welcome to the first public information session for the Central and Northeast Area Boundary Study Committee. My name is Chris Mercado on behalf of Baltimore County Public Schools, Office of Strategic Planning. Again, we thank you all for coming out here tonight. A few housekeeping tips and safety briefing for this evening. Please do take a moment to notice the exit signs. In the event of an emergency, such as a fire alarm sounding or any need that we should need to evacuate the building, we will ask to calmly evacuate, preferably out the door you came in. There's a second set of doors to the rear. There's also out the door to the front and to the left, there's another set of doors to the exterior. Restrooms are located through this front door and to the left through the first set of doors. There is no mask mandate for Baltimore County Public Schools at this time, but we do ask that you please respect your neighbors' wishes regarding mask use and social distancing. We'll be starting here in just a moment. The format for this evening, be introducing our brief presentation with Proper GIS, who will start the evening off, and then after that brief presentation, there's 4 map stations throughout the auditorium this evening. Committee members will be available at those stations, and tonight is really an opportunity for you to engage with the committee members and talk about the different map options that they've developed thus far. All the material from all previous meetings is available on our website at www.bcps.org. At the bottom of that main page, there's a resources link, and from there you can find a link to the Central and Northeast Area Boundary Study page. We also kick off a survey this evening. That link is available on that website. The survey runs from tonight, March 8th, through Sunday, March 19th, and it's an excellent opportunity for all of you, all of your friends, all of your neighbors, as many folks as we can really, to give feedback to the committee that will review the results of that survey at their next meeting. So again, I welcome you. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. We truly appreciate your participation in this process. And I'm giving it over to Mr. James Cooper with Proper GIS.
Thank you, Chris. And again, thank you all public members for coming out tonight. Committee members, if you don't mind raising your hand just so they can see where you are located and kind of get familiar with your faces tonight, as we will be engaging in some communication. I also wanted to note on top of Chris's introductions that we do have a Spanish translator tonight. If anybody needs any information translated, please let us know, and we will gladly get that translated for you. We have a few things to cover tonight. Tonight's purpose is for you as the public to understand how this community-based process, boundary process has been going, and the timeline of it, the work done to date by the committee members. And then we want to dive into the 4 options that we have here tonight to review that the committee has chosen to move forward with at this time. Want to definitely remind you that these are still draft options. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is being voted on tonight. This is just tonight for you as the public to understand some of the impact of these options and give your perspective on some of the draft options that will be presented and how to interpret some of the statistics related to it. By the end of tonight, we want you guys to have a good in-depth understanding of these options so that you are able to complete the online survey, which is very, very important. We will be diving into some individual conversations with committee members, but the survey results that you as a public complete is really going to give the committee a good understanding of your sentiment in these options and give them some direction on how to move forward. So this boundary changing process is guided by policy and Rule 1280 that was developed by the district. It was facilitated by the independent consultant Proper GIS, and it's a committee-driven process that's built up of a committee of principals, teachers, and parents that are derived from each school within this boundary study area. We take an objective examination of all data in order to create options that are aligned with the primary and secondary considerations, with the greater engagement of the community, which is what a big part of tonight is involved in. with the goal of recommending a single option to the Board of Education here by March 29th. So the facilitator is Cropper GIS Consultant. They bring over 20 years of experience. I myself is James Cooper. Matthew Cropper is also located here. He's the CEO of the company. He brings over 20 plus years of experience. We've worked with Baltimore County Public Schools in the past for boundary change study processes and have a good relationship with the district, and we are greatly appreciated that we were chosen to continue working through these processes moving forward and here for the Central and Northeast Middle School Boundary Study. So just looking at the makeup of the committee, it's 42 members with only 32 voting members. These members consist of 10 principals. Principals are non-voting, but they do give input as these draft options have been created over the past few weeks. There's 20 parents, 2 from each school within this boundary study area, and 2 area educational advisory council representatives. Committee members have been available to attend all meetings. As a whole, we've had a good turnout from committee members at most meetings, with only a few members missing a meeting here or there. We've been meeting, planning to meet, and have met 4 times up to now. And tonight is the 5th meeting of the committee member here along with the public. And we've been working from January up until March, and we'll continue to work towards the end of March as we work to recommend an option to the Board of Education. So just looking at the timeline here, again, the committee has had 4 meetings where we have deliberated and created options that have led here tonight. We have our public information session here tonight, and then we also have another public information session that is scheduled for tomorrow night from 7 to 8 at George Washington Carver in the auditorium. Given that it is such a big boundary study area, we found that it was pertinent to host 2 public information sessions for the public, so you guys have a good opportunity to get involved in this process. Following the meeting here tonight and tomorrow for the public information session, the committee does have one more meeting planned on March 29th. It's a very important meeting where we will go and review some of the statistics and conversations that are held here tonight and the results of the survey, so that the committee can make any due changes to any options to move forward with the goal of recommending an option to the Board of Education that is scheduled for May 2nd, 2023. So tonight is very important, and tomorrow night is very important. If you do know any other community members that aren't able to participate tonight, please direct them to try to participate tomorrow at George Washington Carver from 7 to 8 in the auditorium. So just a little information about the Central and Northeast area and why we are hosting a boundary study process at this time. BCPS is in the midst of a $1.6 billion Schools of Our Future capital plan to support capacity and enrollment, increasing enrollment and improving the facilities in this study area. This plan includes 2 middle school projects in the Central and Northeast area, so it covers a vast majority of the Baltimore County School District. In the spring, the superintendent initiated the boundary change study for 10 schools within this area. So it covers a large area. It's a very important project as we are planning on renovating one school, Pine Grove Middle School, and then building a new middle school within this area. The construction of the new middle school in this area is going to be located on King Avenue, which is currently located within the Golden Ring Middle School zone area. That has an anticipated opening of 2024 to 2025 school year, and that new middle school is expected to accommodate 1,364 students. We are also renovating and expanding Pine Grove Middle School, and that has an anticipated completion date of December of 2024. And that renovation for Pine Grove Middle School will increase the enrollment at that facility from 1,197 up to 1,283. We also look to provide some capacity leave to some of the other schools in the Central and Northeast area in this region. There are a few schools that are over capacity currently in this area, and there are schools that have additional capacity that we could look to evaluate boundaries to provide an equitable enrollment for all schools within this study area. We also are looking at accommodating the ESOL strategic plan of returning all ELL students to their home school. Currently, ELL students in this region are attending Dumbarton Middle School or Dundalk Middle School as a regional center for their program. So we're looking to return those students to their home schools within this study area. So looking at the two project schools, we have the new Northeast Middle School, which is going to be located here, kind of governing current Golden Ring Middle School and Parkville Middle School boundary. And then we also have Pine Grove Middle School that is receiving under construction for expansion. So we're looking at extending Pine Grove Middle School's boundary area to accommodate the increasing enrollment. There are 9 other participating schools within this region. So it covers a vast amount of communities and students within this area. And we also want you to be mindful that Golden Ring Middle School is being repurposed and will no longer be a middle school in this area. So looking at the boundary study objective, it's a community-based comprehensive boundary study. We're tasked with meeting the following objective: establish an attendance area for the new Northeast Middle School, new Northeast area middle school, and then also expand the attendance area for Pine Grove in its new addition. Now we'll go over the primary and secondary considerations. These are like the rules to follow as that the committee has been following as they evaluate these boundary study areas for all the school within this boundary study. One of the primary considerations is efficient use of capacity in affected schools. So you want to look at what is the average of utilization at all schools within the study area and try to create an equitable utilization at all those schools within this area so that some schools aren't severely overpopulated and some schools aren't severely underutilized. We're also looking at maintaining or increasing the diversity among the schools to reflect the diversity of the region and the school system. So that's looking at the demographic makeup of all the schools within the study area and creating an equitable demographic for all schools within this area. Some of the secondary considerations that you need to follow and look at as you are evaluating these options are maintaining the continuity of neighborhoods. So being sure not to split down a residential road or subdivision so that kids are going to schools with their peers that they live nearby. Looking at the impact of transportation and pedestrian patterns on students. So trying to prevent students from having to cross major roads in order to attend a school, or preserving any students that are within a walk zone so they're not moved to a school where they now have to be bused or driven to. You want to look at minimizing the number of times any individual students are reassigned, so be mindful of previous boundary studies where families were impacted and moved to a new school, and be cognizant of if they are going to be impacted in any boundary change studies with this process. You want to look at the long-term enrollment and trends and capacity trends and future capital plans. So just looking at the current trends of each school within this study area, are they projected to continue increasing enrollment, or are they projected to decrease enrollment? And then also be mindful of any development plans that may be going on within the area, so that as you are considering boundary changes, that you are sure not to fill a school too much or enroll a school too much where a new development may be coming and new families may be coming into that area so that they have seats for their students and their kids. You want to evaluate the location of feeder school boundaries and the continuity of feeder patterns. So that's looking at the migration of students from elementary school to middle school and middle school to high school, trying to keep students with their friends and peers as they migrate from elementary school to middle school. We'll be evaluating feeder patterns. You'll see a few feeder pattern tables today where you will be able to evaluate where schools are split. A split occurs when, say, an elementary school feeds into 2 middle schools. So maybe 50% of students at one elementary school will go to one middle school, and the other 50% of students at that elementary school will go to another. We want to look at trying to minimize those splits, and if there are splits, try to make them equitable so that they're migrating to the next school level with some familiar faces and friends. Some additional considerations that the committee has been used as rules as they evaluate these options are looking at geographic features, major highways, railroads, natural dividing lines and creeks that existed within the geography of the study area, and then also supporting the ESOL strategic plan of returning those ELL students to their home schools, making sure that we are counting those students returning to their home schools so that there are seats for those students as they get back to their home zone school. So a little information on work done to date. The data and information that the committee has been examining since meeting one includes student enrollment and capacity data. They know what the current state rated capacity, which is how many students each building can accommodate. These state rated capacities do not include any portable buildings. It's only the main building of each school and how many seats. It's calculated every year by the Maryland Department of Education, and this is a number that the committee has been using as they evaluate and estimate enrollment for all these options. They're looking at the zoning maps, looking at land use maps, and understanding where development may be coming and going in the region, and looking at the trends of each of these schools. Are they trending higher in enrollment, or are they trending lower? And then they're also looking at the walk zones. The committee has been evaluating the walk zone for each school, and including the new Northeast Middle School that is anticipated to open, to try to make sure we minimize and keep students within walk zones in all options. I want you to remember as the public that all these options that we have here tonight are draft. Nothing is set in stone. The committee has not voted on one sole option. Tonight is a great night for them to receive some feedback from the public in regards to any sentiment towards each option and the process that has taken place so far. The committee is charged to recommend one option to the Board of Education on May 2nd of this year. So we have a little bit of time. The committee has worked very hard up until now, and we're really eager to get some feedback from the public so the committee can evaluate, make any necessary changes that they see fit to evaluate an option to the Board of Education on May 2nd that best meets the needs of all the students within the study area, not just one sole community. So when you go around and you look at the maps, and you also have the maps that are available on the Boundary Study webpage, you're going to see some common trends and elements of each map. Each map has a title at the top, which will let you know if it's a current zone map or if it's an option map and which option that map represents. There are also planning blocks that showcase data about the amount of students that live within that area. So the committee is well versed on knowing what the impact of moving a particular zone from one school to the next. Each map is color coded to match the zone. So looking here, just for this example on the snippet on the PowerPoint, Lock Raven has a purple zone. So you can look at the map and you can see if it's a purple zone, that means that those students within that area are attending Lock Raven. Each school has its own color, so you're able to defer which zone belongs to which school. These planning block labels, we look at them like the building blocks when it comes to evaluating boundary areas. They have a number, which is a unique ID. PB is just an abbreviation for planning block. The number next to the PB, like say for example 407, is just a unique ID number, so that say if you have a particular area that you want to pinpoint or point out to a committee member as you're speaking about them, using that planning block ID is a good indication to let that committee member know exactly which area you're referring to, and then the conversation can proceed. Underneath that planning block ID number, there's a whole number. For example, you may see 65. 65 represents the amount of live-in attendance students within that planning block area, as well as any ELL students that are attending Dumbarton or Dundalk Middle School Regional Center. That number it represents what students, how many students will be impacted if that planning block were to move from one zone to another. It's a good way so the committee understands how many students that they will be impacting by moving a particular area, and it keeps everybody working from the same framework and on the same mindset with the same objective. If you want to wait till after the end, and then we'll definitely dive into some in-depth questions. My apologies. The statistics are very important and very pertinent to the study. The committee has been evaluating these statistics since day one, and these statistics are also available to you, the public. You can go back and look at any statistics from meeting 1 to meeting 2 and so on to understand how the committee has been, what statistics the committee has been referring to as they make their decisions on draft options that they have built. Here's an example of the current utilization and why it reinforces the need for us to do a boundary study area. Outside of building the new Northeast Middle School and the Pine Grove Extension, you'll see here that there are a number of schools. Golden Ring Middle School, which is currently at 111% utilized, so it's over capacity. There are also Perry Hall Middle School is another school within this region that is over capacity at an estimated or current enrollment of 108%. There are a number of schools within this region that are well under capacity. Stemmers Run Middle School, which is currently at 75%, as well as Dumbarton Middle School, which is currently at 79%. So this shows that there is some room to evaluate boundaries in this area, whereas there are some neighboring schools that can give some relief to some of these overcrowded schools within this study area. As you evaluate these maps, you'll see this table very often. This number here is the utilization. It gives you it's basically the current enrollment divided by the current state rated capacity and turned into a percentage. So it tells you how full or how the percentage of how full each school is. The number next to this utilization percentage is the capacity, the number of seats that are available at that school. So when you see a minus 167, for example, or at Cockeysville Middle School, that shows that there are 167 seats available at that middle school. When you do see a positive number in this column, in the plus minus column, that positive means that they're over capacity. So for example, when you look at Middle River Middle School, they are 101%, and that equates to 10 students over capacity. Another table that you will see tonight that's on the big plots and also on the Boundary Study webpage as you go to evaluate is the estimated enrollment number. This is the total number of students in each school currently, and then there's a total number of students in each school for each option. So it's a good way to equate and look at that number. A more important table, as I stated before, is the utilization table. That just takes that current enrollment number and divides it by the option state rated capacity. You'll see that there's an option state rated capacity because there are a number of schools like the New Northeast Middle School that it changes the amount of seats within this study area. And then also Golden Ring Middle School is being repurposed, so the seats at that school will no longer be included in the total option state rated capacity for this study area. Yes, absolutely. I definitely understand your urgency, and we will be getting there shortly. Yes, we're almost finished here. Another piece of data that you'll see here is the demographic data. You can understand the impact that these options have on the demographics. You'll look at the current demographics and then look at the option demographic to kind of understand how they change. It's a good way for you to understand the impact of these options and what these tables represent, and what they result of as certain boundary moves are made in each option. The other table that you will see here is the impact tables. It goes you the total number of students that are going to be impacted in each option. When you see these tables, you can understand how many students are transferring from one school to the next. A big important statistic is also feeder patterns table. You can see how many splits, which is how many students from each school, each elementary school migrates to a middle school, and from a middle school to a high school. When you look at these feeder pattern tables, you will be able to understand the percentages here in this column, and this shows you where the current elementary school boundary gets to the middle school boundary. And the committee will explain the rest of the data. We won't hold you any longer. Gotcha. We have committee members spread out at each of the stations. Please get around, talk with them, be respectful, give them your sentiment, and we look forward to you having a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to take the survey on one of the devices here, you're welcome to. If not, you can take it at your leisure on any internet-connected device. The link is on our website. There's also some cards there with QR codes that you can take with you, share with your neighbors. Please enjoy your conversations.